Yes, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's time for some breaking hog. You're looking at the mastermind, the man himself, eriktenhag. I'd like to welcome you to the Football Power Hour and just say to you, happy Friday. Thank you for tuning in. Let me give you your flowers real quick and just say cheers, cheers, cheers. But you know what? Before I even actually do that, I just have to invite you guys. I have to tell you guys we have some special people to join us this time. We have a distinguished panel, ladies and gentlemen. It's a distinguished lineup. We're so lucky to be joined by my friend Eddie from Eddie's Footy Waffle. Eddie, yo. What's up, brother? I'd love to also welcome my dear friend Maisy from Devils United. Hello, Maisy. And we have my friend Reese. Oh my God, breaking heart. Yes, Reese in the building. And last but not least, Big Ben himself, Mick in the building.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a happy Friday happy hour. I just said bring your drink. It can be water, it could be whatever. Just get your drink out and let's say cheers. You know.
Power.
Boom. There we go. Oh.
What's Maisy drinking? What's that word?
Alcohol.
What is
I've had a very long week, let's just say.
Maisy's on special sauce. It's fury sauce.
That's
so
amazing.
if we do any slip-ups, we do that rap. Blame it on the alcohol.
Exactly. Mick, are you having water? What are you having?
I'm having a Volt bar, man. And it's like 10,000 puffs.
My goodness. Thank you for joining us, bro, because I know it's an ungodly hour right now in Thailand. It's 5 a.m.
Yeah, it is 10 past 5.
You know what? Honest. It's a happy hour, bro.
It's a happy hour. Yeah, let's go.
Yes. So pretty much, I also just want to acknowledge everybody that's joined us too. We got Ravi in the house. Thank you, Ravi, for saying big up the crew. Damn, yo. Out of the rave on the ramen cokes wanted a 7-Up, but they didn't have it. The 7 jokes don't stop.
Yeah, man. Got to stop with the 7-Up, man. How much money have these guys made off of that result, man? Like, 7-Up.
What kind of trolling have you guys got this week?
Just a disclaimer: we're not sponsored by that company, okay? Just for disclaimer, YouTube algorithm. Even we even removed the number 7 out of when we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We jump over, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I suppose if you want to go 7-Up, you cannot say that to Jamie Carragher because he's still on 0. There you go.
7 down.
Mic drop there. That was.
That was a good one, Reese. But what kind of trolling have you guys got? I my brother called me at 7 a.m. And then I was just like, it's very early right now. Then he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize what time it was. And then he hung up. And then I looked at the time and then saw it was 7. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the square root one where someone sent me a picture of Garnacho's number 49 shirt. Like, what's the square root of this? 7. It's just mad trolling, man.
I had
tired of it, man.
But lucky Ronaldo is not playing because we don't have the number 7 in the squad shirt, right?
Yeah.
So the
curse of number 7.
Reese, you said
I was streaming yesterday. Started streaming at 7 o'clock. Didn't get a comment for 6 minutes 59 seconds. My first comment and came in at bang on 7 minutes. I was like, this is a bad omen.
That's rough, bro. Maisy, have you gotten any trolls from anybody?
Yeah, you know what? I've become friends with a lot of Liverpool fans in the last so many weeks. It really hit on the group chat because I'm in 2 different group chats with Liverpool fans because for some reason they call me their adopted Scouser, which it's very painful to hear. But they literally, I literally said to him, "Is this like a trophy for you?" Like, someone messaged me privately and it was like, "Oh look, we beat you 7-0." I was like, "Is that the only trophy you're gonna win this season? I beat United 7-0. Pipe down."
That is trophy. That is.
Well, if you want
better
me to
than
be honest,
Eriktenhag.
trolls have come from Man United fans. They haven't come from Liverpool fans because the ones from the group chat, because Ravi's in the group chat with me, and they've all been very calm. Like they were buzzing with the result, but they didn't like troll me or anything. But the trolls have actually come from a Man United fans because they're very, very bitter.
Yeah, immature. They're so immature. You see it all the time. Like, was it the E-Reds? I mean, we're all technically apart. Like, obviously, Maisy, you go to games and all that. But like, in the sense of it as well, like, we're all technically in one shape or form. We're E-Reds. Like, we're all on We're all on that electronics, like that platform, and we use our platforms, like for football, obviously in the Man United sense. But the one thing you see from us is, I don't need to troll someone to get a point ahead, like to get a point or lose an argument. But just take an argument, and if I lose it, no problem. But if you have to troll someone because your team got beat, then that says a lot about you than it does about anyone else who's making a fair comment. Like, I think that says a lot really about people. But the fact
the thing is, Reece, like trolling is fun. That's the thing. Like I've been guilty of doing it. Like, I've been guilty of doing it to Arsenal fans, like especially when they were going through the mini. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's infectious to get involved with like little jokes, you know.
Yes.
It's just fun.
Banter is part of the game. It's part of a way of enjoying and connecting with other people too, you know. But yeah.
I love bringing up every time Van Persie's on punditry. I always like to just post up the picture of the Guard of Honor that he got, because I mean that says it all. But like, I like a little bit of fun trolling, and that way, you know, like a 5'9" midget can handle like the biggest strikers in the Europe and all that. I mean, I'm a giant myself. I'm 6'3", just under 6'4". But I mean, there's always good to troll the giants one way or another with an midget.
Damn.
Looking up and all that, you know, we're always looking up.
That's so funny. Yo, so question from Ravi real quick. Let's just like acknowledge Ravi's presence and say thank you, Ravi. Thank you also for everybody hitting the like button. But the question is, should Bruno be benched for his poor attitude? Talking about trolling. Is that a troll question or a serious question?
Like trolling.
Oh, I'm gonna fire. I'll answer this with a question of my own, if that's all right.
Yeah.
If Bruno's got to be benched for his poor attitude, then should Trent be benched for being an actor? Because he's not a professional footballer.
Yeah.
So, like, should Bruno be benched for having a poor attitude? Then should Trent be benched for being an actor, not a professional footballer? So, like, yes, his attitude is at times shocking. I'm not going to deny that, and it can be detrimental to the team. But you put somebody else in that position in the team, and I know Maisy will back me up on this one because she says it all the time. We don't have another creative outlet in our team because Christian Eriksen isn't back until after Easter. So if we take Bruno out of the team, who do we play in that position? Because James Sancho is
I was going to say
possibly
because he can play there. He can play on the wing. He can play number 10. So
it's a great option, but as much, and I love Sabitzer, so I think he's a quality player. But if you were to put him in that position straight away, are we actually going to be a better team? I don't think so. I think he's a brilliant player, and I like having him beside Casemiro. But when you look at it from a logical sense, if Bruno is dropped, we need to have an immediate like for like replacement that is creative, and I don't necessarily think we have that until Christian Eriksen returns. So personally, I say no, but he needs to rein it in a little bit.
Yeah, I think with him being captain, it's a no-brainer where he can't be dropped.
Yeah,
I think he's got too much responsibility to be in there and make up for some of the histrionics that he's done. Because I don't like when he's diving sometimes and like, you know, throwing his hands up, moaning at people when he's not doing that well himself. So obviously he's got to stay in there because otherwise we're gonna have like the likes of Beg Horse.
I like what Ten Hag said about him. He said he's such an emotional player that emotion is his weapon, but it can also be like his weakness, you know. And that was like very, very poignant. I was just like, wow, what a observation, because so he was like, sometimes you need to be rational as a player, sometimes you need to be emotional, and both of them can be superpowers depending on the timing and the combination of how you're using them. So he's like, there's a time to actually like forget. Go ahead.
I have a question. Is Ravi a Scouser fan?
Yes, he's a Liverpool fan.
Oh,
he's one of the people who's in my group chat.
Bring back that chat again, and I will sort of counter question you, Ravi. Okay, he's saying Bruno benched for his poor attitude. What about Klopp? What about his attitude, mate? He's standing there on the sideline. He's always whinging, blaming on the weather. Oh, the ball deflected. Oh, it was the rain. Oh, the ball went to Sainsbury car park. Darwin, 2 noodles, shoot it off till they landed somewhere. I don't know. What about his poor attitude, mate?
Which is, you forgot about that excuse.
Yeah, the excuse.
Actually,
right? You always see him petulant. You see that Klopp petulant always trying to influence the fourth official, always whispering, chatting in his ear. And that's poor attitude. Should Klopp be benched? Hell yeah.
I mean,
I've never met this guy before, and I'm absolutely adoring him. Like, this is too good.
Reese, how do you respond to that?
Don't worry, my brother is a Liverpool supporter. Actually,
that's a good way to say it. I'll say another thing as well. Actually, is why does a player automatically have to be benched for having a poor attitude? I mean, there've been plenty of players before in the Premier League who are absolutely outstanding, but have got poor attitude, but they still play. Like, I'm going to put an example here I think many would agree with. Nicholas Anelka was one of the best strikers in the Premier League 10, 15 years ago. But his attitude was absolutely shocking. Yet, he was absolutely fundamental in Chelsea losing to us in the Champions League final and winning a double for Carlo Ancelotti. Like, so he was actually fundamental, but his attitude was absolutely stinking. So, like, why should attitude be the first thing you question when you drop someone? I mean, I hate Luis Suarez. I hate the guy with a passion, but his attitude was horrific. But he is still one of the best strikers of the past decade, of the past decade as well. Like, I have to give the guy props. I hate doing it, but attitude shouldn't be a problem, because you can have a negative attitude and still be a great influence on your team and a great player, or you can have an absolute amazing attitude and be absolutely useless. I don't care if Bruno's got a bad attitude. Like, at times, I don't really care about that.
I think he needs a better attitude, Reese, because he's the captain as well. That's the thing. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is that he's supposed to be leading by example, because you look at your leader, he can be charismatic. So, like, if he's having that bad attitude, that can infect the team.
But Reese, I mean, isn't that a good sign? If I don't call it bad attitude. It's actually giving a shit, to be honest, right? Yeah, you play with your heart on your sleeve. You're emotional. You're a winner, right? And barring that, Bruno has never been injured. He played every second, every minute of every game. He's a winner, right? So he should never be benched. Actually, I want him to have a rest. But who should we rest him with? That's the question.
Yeah,
I would say Sancho, but I don't know what you guys think. I've said this to Maisy before, that I would play Sancho in the 10 role, but I don't know if you can do it over a prolonged period of time. I think you'd have to do it like the odd game.
He needs a lot more games, like with low stakes, so he can practice being at number 10. Because in that second leg against Barcelona, for me, I had my player cam on Sancho. He looked nervous. Like, he started off well, but then kind of started to like shrivel up, and he was passing the ball. He was missing easy passes and stuff like that. But we see them, like, in terms of link-up play, he looks like he could be the right profile for a number 10. It's just like he needs way more practice in that.
Maybe it's too early. I mean, you got to fix up. He was away for mental issues, right? So you see clearly what eriktenhag is doing is kind of embedding him, instilling him slowly, still not playing 90 minutes. So
But I would like to see that experiment again from Ten Hag, aka Eriktenhag, because he does a lot of experiments.
Hector Salamanca also.
You know, like I wouldn't be surprised. He's already tried Fred at number 10. He's already tried. You remember early in the season, you know, he had a few. It's funny when you think about how he lined up things when everybody was fit. It's the beginning of the season. The center back pairing that he preferred was Maguire and Martinez. You know, and not maybe, you know, maybe he Mick, you have something to respond to that, but like that's how he chose. That was the first game of the season, and then he was just like, everybody's fit. Everybody is trained. Everybody's gone on the preseason tour, and I'm going to pick Maguire Martinez. And then from there, I think like, you know, I can't remember who played number 10, but I remember a few games later, Fred was also tried there. Eriksen was tried there. And then, you know, but then eventually it just went back to Bruno. He's always been the number 10. So I'm just curious about when Ten Hag is going to try Sabitzer on the number 10 role, because he hasn't done that yet.
He's even tried Weghorst, right? And Donny's injured. We kept forgetting Donny van de Beek. So
True.
I think the original plan was to, you know, have Donny van de Beek as the backup number 10 to Bruno, but obviously what did he do? He had a knee injury or something, or did he break a leg or something? No.
I think it was in the Bournemouth game. It was something to do with his knee, and he had surgery on it.
Yeah,
Bad luck.
there's one other player he also tried at number 10, and he's only just returned to training, but he actually worked really well. Martial played number 10 against City, and he played in the Europa League game straight after. He's not. That's a problem in itself, though. Not that Martial's a bad player. He's not reliable. He doesn't really stay fit anymore. But he actually played well in that number 10 role. But another player he could potentially play as well, because we're stacked in numbers. He could easily play Marcus Rashford as in that position.
You think so?
I think he could.
I'm sure, man. I mean, the best side of Marcus Rashford is when I see him running in behind, where it's like, you know, he's got to use his pace.
Yeah.
When the game slows down, where that's where you have a number 10 slow down the game after link up.
I mean, we have in the back, we have the Royce Varane, and in the front, if we will play, Martial, it will be like a Range Rover, because the Range Rover is constantly in the garage for repairs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a fair comparison. It's like you look at our team. You've got the Rolls Royce Phantom, then you've got the Lamborghini of Casemiro, and then you've got.
And then you have the drink of Martini.
I was going to say from Martial, you've got a Land Rover Discovery, but I suppose that's being too generous. But I think when you got to look at it, and it's just all over the place. Like, we've got key elements there. It's finding that right tool, but we need to have the backup behind it. And I don't know if we necessarily have it, and that's why we're overly relying on the same players. And I will never use exhaustion as an excuse. I know a lot of people did against Liverpool. Exhaustion was an excuse, and that really irked me. Yeah. But there are some players who are generally going to need a rest, and if they don't get it, they will run themselves into the ground.
Yeah, and we used to have Ollie at the wheel as well.
Yeah, I thought you burnt out Rashford, Mickey. Like, I was really worried that this guy wasn't going to come back. Remember when Rashford was playing with, what was it, a broken bone in his back or something?
Yeah.
Playing for injury.
I think he had more injuries than goals last year.
Properly, man. That's the thing, man. So I would say exhaustion is an excuse, Reese, because how many games are we playing? One game every 3 days.
Yeah.
You've got to change the team.
He does need to change it. I think a lot of people use the excuse of exhaustion against Liverpool, which irked me because one team turned up, the other one definitely didn't. But you can use exhaustion for the amount of games you have to play, but you shouldn't be using it as an excuse when it's your biggest rival. That's the only time I got offended as a person. I got offended personally as a United fan by people saying exhaustion was the reason we lost.
Yeah. No, and you know what, Reece? It was a bit weird as well because we made 6 changes for that West Ham game. So there was 6 players rested.
Yeah, exactly.
For that game. So exhaustion maybe like physically wasn't really the proper reason. Maybe like mentally.
Mentally, I think they were swallowed up by the Anfield atmosphere, to be honest, right?
Let's dig deep on this actually, because since we're talking about the Liverpool loss, so I'm hearing the occasion. You said Mick, you said they were overwhelmed by the occasion, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's the exhaustion point. Maisy, what do you think?
It's a tough one to say. It's a real tough one to say because I do agree we should have been rotating a lot more than what we should be. But I think what probably plays into consideration is that there's players who's been suspended, there's players who's been injured. Like, you wouldn't exactly just throw Scott McTominay in, and you wouldn't exactly throw like Casemiro. He had the suspension in the Premier League for 3 games, and then you had Sabitzer, he had a suspension in the Europa League. So all that plays into consideration that even though Ten Hag should rotate a little bit more than he should do, he physically could not rotate in that midfield. But I do also think is that, in my opinion, I look at who we started, and I think for me is that we should have really tried the more false 9 approach. I'm not saying Garnacho should have started, not at all, but I think that with Liverpool playing in that high line, was Weghorst the right person to start, just based off the way that Liverpool's formation and the way Liverpool sets up? We could have put Sancho on for the 60 minutes and then subbed him off for Garnacho or subbed him off for Weghorst. I just think it was just, I think that for me, it was just the whole way of how the game went into, in my opinion, how we was all set up, and I just think the midfield was extremely open.
Yeah,
he was, Maisy, and what surprised me, Maisy, was when he did the sub, when he subbed out Weghorst, he put in Scott McTominay, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
And we've seen two games in a row that he insisted to start with Dalot, but Dalot is not 100% fit. But everyone knew that Aaron Wan-Bissaka should have started, and you saw when Aaron Wan-Bissaka came in yesterday, it was a totally different ball game, wasn't it? He's improved so much.
I got a question for all of you. I got a question for all of you, actually. One thing Ten Hag has done in games, and it's been since the Chelsea game, where it was evident, but it was questioned for the season, is his man management is actually there. He does have man management, and he reacts really well in games. He's proactive. He's not reactive. His preferred system this season has been a 4-2-3-1. Although in maybe 3 or 4 games we've played the 4-3-3. Against Arsenal, we started as a 3-4-3 as well when we beat Arsenal at the start, back in first half of the season. Do you think maybe he should have dropped Fernandes into an 8 role against Liverpool and played and matched them system for system, or do you think he should have stuck to the same, like, his preferred system? Just asking based on the fact that when you are playing the 4-2-3-1, you have got the 2 on the free, and you've already got a player in behind that free anyway. Do you think he should have actually had the free matching them? Or do you think he should have stuck to what he did? Just looking at it in that system.
We did a preview before, before the game, and we looked at their midfield comparing to ours, and we were quite confident that they had an aging midfield in terms of Henderson. They had a young player. What was his name? Harvey Elliott.
Bašić.
And then also Fernandinho as well. So we thought that's going to be an easy, But obviously we were going back. It was like the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's old donut hole again in the middle, because Fred was dispositioned. It was a totally wrong mismatching, right? So my humble opinion should be Casemiro, Sabitzer, because Sabitzer is quite press resistant, is good going forward as well, with Bruno on the roaming kind of 8, number 10, right? So we didn't have control, because we know that Jurgen Klopp is a sort of a gegenpress system, right? And they turned up like it was a Prime Cup final. That's where we lost. My humble opinion, though.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with Maisy with what he's saying about the Weghorst. He was not agile enough to be competing in that midfield. We needed runners, and that's what Mickey was saying. Yeah, we needed people like Sabitzer or like Bruno that running the 8 positions, because what I saw in the first half, we dropped back and we just let them gain confidence in playing in the midfield, when I think we could have been pressing them a bit more, in my opinion, anyway. I just think we tried to rely too much on counterattack. But
for me, it was a sign of nervousness, because I call it shambles pinball, right? We couldn't even get the second balls because it was just bouncing back like a pinball, like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating. I mean, the first half, we could have been 2-0 up, right? Easily.
Yeah, we had the better chances. But
we did.
I think we just let Liverpool grow into the game. I really hated how, because did you see Nunez in that first half? The way he was letting the ball roll under his foot, he couldn't pass. It's like, how did we allow this guy to get confidence as well? We could have been cutting out way more balls.
Cody Gakpo as well for about 40 minutes.
Yeah. There's two players that we were after in the target, and they turn up they were being shit for the whole season, and they just turn up against us.
I must be honest, though, I do disagree with what Rhys said about matching the formations, because you look at I think for me, Bruno is more suited to playing the 10 role. I think when you look at Bruno in the 8, you look at a number 8 to have a game possession of the ball, bring the ball forward. And the problem is Bruno, even though I love Bruno, he gives the ball away very, very cheaply at time to time. And
That's
I think
fair,
he's just not good. It's not his type of play to keep possession of the ball. He likes to be creative. He likes to do them little narrow balls through into Rashford, Martial, Garnacho, and I think that really limits his kind of play if he was to play in the 8. And I think if we was to match their formation and put Bruno in the 8, I think it could have been a lot worse situation.
So what would you? So on that basis, then I do agree. I think that's a very fair point. In the base of that, then what else would you have done? Were you just stuck in and maybe have done something different, like?
I would have stuck to the 4-2-3-1, but I would have played Bruno in the 10. I think because most of I seen in the first half, Bruno was playing on the left wing, which really baffled me. Why was he playing on the wing? I think it's good on the right wing when it's once like Antony comes off. That's why I don't mind it, but I just think. For me, Weghorst shouldn't have started. He should have come off the bench. And I would have played Rashford at the top, Bruno in the 10. I would have put Antony on the right, and I would have tried Sancho on the left, because even when I seen Garnacho come on quite early on, I said, you know what, it's gonna be like wolves eating him up. I couldn't believe that he came on so early.
Same.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you think about it, Mace, and the team as well, like ever since Eriksen's been injured, right? Bruno's been shifted left, right, middle, like no consistency. And he's been preferring to play Weghorst as number 10, right? But what would the game outcome be if Eriksen was fit? It would be a totally different midfield, wouldn't it?
Oh, totally.
I would have wondered how we would have it would have been interesting to see how we would have fared with Eriksen, because the one thing that wouldn't have happened is he wouldn't have been overly exposed as he was against City. Like, obviously against City, it wasn't his fault he was exposed. It was just there was no cohesion. Against Liverpool, at least he would have had that more control. So I would have been it'd be more interesting to see Eriksen. Like, he is a big miss our season, but I'm glad that he is back next month, because we've still got the way it's going. If we continue to play as we are in the same momentum, we could play an extra 25 games, I think, between now and the end of the season, which is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to rotate and hard to work around.
Yeah. But the thing is, where would Eriksen have played? Yeah, because even though, okay, we were getting good results with Eriksen playing holding midfield, I don't think he was actually that good in that position. I think Casemiro was overworked because Eriksen, he doesn't make tackles. And if you're holding midfielder, you got to make way more tackles than what he's done. So
how would you feel if Fernandes seems to be the destined position between the right or the number 10? How would you feel going forward if, I know Maisy will like this bit, Wan-Bissaka's until the end of the season, until we find a new right back, that's a permanent right back right there. The same back four, unless Shaw goes completely out of psychotic moments and Malacia replaces him, but it's Martinez and Varane at centre back. Sabitzer and Casemiro is your holding duel right there. Fernandes on the right. You've got Eriksen in 10 role, which is still his best position. Rashford or Antony on the left, and then whichever one doesn't play in that wing position, you got Rashford up front. It's either that or Sancho. One of them has to play. I
wouldn't play Bruno on the right, just because I think sometimes it's great to move like Bruno about a bit if it works. But I think if you're gonna play like a top, if you was gonna play Newcastle, for instance, in the weekend, I don't think Bruno would be doing very well at all in that wing.
Yeah,
I got a question back to you guys. I mean, we haven't seen much of Sabitzer, have we? And I kind of expected to see more about Sabitzer. Why is he not playing Sabitzer?
Yeah,
I want to see Sabitzer.
I think he was injured. He was not available for selection for the last game, because you would have expected him. I don't know exactly what the injury is, but I know that he was not him and Martial. There was that announcement.
I mean, we've seen glimpses, like, I've seen him play before, but we've seen glimpses in the United shirt. I want to see him full 90 minutes alongside with Casemiro and Bruno on top.
Yeah. A lot of the games he's played has been like in place of Casemiro as well. I don't think he does well as like the holding midfielder. I would love to see in midfield just one holding midfielder, with Casemiro, and then Sabitzer as an 8, and then what was it? Was it Maisy saying you don't see Bruno as an 8? Like I think you could get discipline to do that role a bit better. I don't think ultimately Fernandes fits into this team, which is why I'm confused as to why he's captain, because he does have that mentality to just be like a cowboy, go forward, possibly be a striker sometimes.
So to you then, Eddie,
that's Bruno's position, to give him a free range roam, to roam like left, right, center. You know what I mean? That's where you see the best of Bruno, when he gets to play to change, interchange, right? Because Bruno is a creator.
Like a possession system, innit? We need a bit more discipline in there, because have you seen sometimes we have the 2 holding midfielders and he would literally just go up front and there's a big hole in front of the 2 holding midfielders.
But at the end of the day, and we all know the games are won and lost in the midfield, and our midfield wasn't. I mean, that's why I want to say, cue it back to what I started, because on paper we had the better midfield, and that's how I was confident to say games are lost and won in the midfield. I even had a Scout supporter that was on my live stream, and he said 3-1 Manchester United.
Yeah,
that's the
first time. I was on the stream as well.
Yeah, you were on it as well.
Yeah, I actually said
confident.
a draw. I said a draw, didn't I? Yeah, and then I was looking at the midfield, like you said, on paper we looked like we smashed them. And I was
Eddie, I got
all 4 of you goats then. Quickly, question to all 4 of you: what's your preferred midfield 3 then?
Start with you, Eddie. What's your preferred midfield 3? Because look at this comment. I heard you earlier on say, "How does Bruno fit in this team?" I was like, "What is Eddie talking about?" So yeah, what's your preferred midfield 3? That's a good segue after reading what Rua just said right there.
Providing all of our midfield options are fit, though. So if this is when all of our midfield options are fit, what's your preferred midfield 3?
Yeah.
So obviously, it would be one holding midfielder in Casemiro, because he's just a boss. Obviously, people like Sabitzer have a great technique, so I'd like to see him as a number 8. In terms of the other 8, I mean, when Fred was on form, guys, remember against Barcelona, what he was doing in terms of defending against De Jong.
Oh yeah.
Doing all that kind of stuff, and even adding goals to his game. Yeah. An on-form Fred would be my preference, but we know he doesn't keep form. I mean, we saw him in the Liverpool game, and against Betis. Did he start against? He started against Betis, right? But I don't know. I wasn't really impressed. He's not that consistent. But I would say there's potential for Bruno to become that number 8 as well. It's just that he's got to work with doing more 1-2s. I don't think we see enough 1-2s in this team. That's why, it's going to take a lot of time for Ten Hag to get his possession formula calibrated, because we're not seeing enough transitions in terms of holding the ball. But okay, just to finish off, Casemiro, Sabitzer on the right, and Bruno on the left then, as number 8 as well.
Fair enough.
Realistic, Eddie. No what if. Says Rory.
But this is what fan content is. We deal with what ifs. That's what we've got to do, isn't it? Because obviously Bruno may not be there in the future as well. So I actually want to see a better midfielder that can actually carry the ball as well and dribble. What happened to Man United having dribbling midfielders? We don't have dribblers, guys. We don't have people that can carry the ball like a Kovacic or Modric. Come on, guys.
So no, I hear you. I gotta just say real quick. By the way, if you guys are just joining in, it's the Football Power Hour Friday Happy Hour. We got Reese, we got Mick, we got Eddie, we got Maisy in the building. We're just chilling, just talking about all football things. And grab your drink, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and if you've been drinking, get your refill. I'm due for a refill. But Maisy, the question goes over to you about your preferred midfield 3 as I grab my refill.
It is a tough one. I'd have to say Casemiro. There's no one's getting out of his position. It's getting him out of that position. There's no question about that. I'd love to say Sabitzer, But for me, we haven't seen enough games of Sabitzer in the 8 role, so it's hard to say Sabitzer as well. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very. I think he needs a proper run of games, as people used to say about Donna. Give him a run of games, see how he gets on from there. So I'd still have to say Eriksen and Bruno, just because I think Eriksen was absolutely incredible. His set pieces, his corners were absolutely spectacular. He's got our highest assists in the Premier League, and he's been injured for quite a while as well. So I'd have to say them 3, but for me, Sabitzer does need more of a run of games, and I want to see him do set pieces when he's on the pitch. Yeah. I do like Luke Shaw, I do like Bruno, but I think for me, Bruno, when he does set pieces, they're too slow. And then it just gives the opposition enough time to twig. With Luke Shaw, I think he's better from when it's a cross into the box. Because we've seen it where we've seen the header from Casemiro, and we've seen the quality goals that Sabitzer has when he's done the set pieces. So I would give him that bit of a chance to do that. And I think once he gets his first goal, he'll start getting that bit more confidence.
I agree with that 100%. Like I think the one thing we've seen as well, because I know he does it frequently for England to my distaste, is Luke Shaw does have that delivery from the touchline really well into a player that actually benefits if you're really tall. But when it's actually played in a position where you really want to get into feet, or you want to get like on the far side, it's not really effective in that way. So if you're playing it like towards like the near post or in the middle, Luke Shaw is good for that. Playing it further out, I agree, Sabitzer. So like from those positions, completely perfect. I completely agree. And Eriksen as well. Like Eriksen's corners are not the best, but from a free kick position, deadly.
Oh, sure. What about you, Mick?
I'm going to change Bruno from my team. I'm going to have Eriksen in there because what Maisy was saying, like, he's been one of the best assistants in the Premier League. Like, I think alongside Kevin De Bruyne, he's got like some of the most assists in like recent history. So yeah, Eriksen instead of Bruno in my midfield. Well, yeah,
for me, I'm just looking at the run on form before Eriksen got injured and how he's been tinkering around. So for me, it's crystal clear, obvious. I'm actually looking forward, right? I would say that, you know, it is 100% Casemiro. On the left, you will have Eriksen. On the right, Bruno, right? That is the triangle, right? It's not bad to have a Sabitzer to sign him up as a squad player. As Maisy was saying, we haven't seen much enough. But also when Donny comes back as well, what's going to happen with him? Because obviously these players cannot play like in every game. We need quality substitutions as well. Fred, we've seen the best of Fred, but he's not a reliable player to come in, play week in, week out. Fred is like Forrest Gump, like, you know, life is a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get, you know. And sometimes you get the goodie chocolate, and sometimes you get the Fred, that the last piece of chocolate that nobody wants, you know, that everyone wants to give away to somebody or throw it in the bin. So for me, that is the dream triangle, that how we started and how we went on a run of form. Since then, we've been kind of lacking a little bit of 1-2's creativities. And that's why I was saying earlier, like, I would love to see a little bit more what Sabitzer is all about in United's shirt at the moment. But it's depending on game to game, who we're playing as well, right? If we want to be more on the front foot, if we want to be more on defensive, playing in double pivot, I mean, double holding midfielders, like, you know, but we don't need that. Casemiro is everywhere. This he can here, this he can there. He's everywhere.
I agree.
Well, one of our star players. Yeah, another player that we should focus on real quick. I want to go to, let's start with you, Reese, on this one and just say, what are your thoughts on De Gea? Ravi, this was an excellent question. Like, should we get rid of him and get something better, or should Ten Hag try and build and prioritize other areas in the rebuild? Because this is a question that he has to answer. And where do you stand on this? Like,
yeah, that's a good question. Allow me to respond by just doing this first.
Yes, everybody take a sip. It's the happy hour. It seems like Maisy, Eddie, and I understood the assignment. But yes, thank you.
I had to get all that water drained first before I do this one. Right. I was waiting for it to hear a question. Okay. I done the watch along for the Real Betis game, and I was like, okay, in recent games, like, going to ignore Liverpool to an extent because that was horrific. I'm going to see how he responds in this game. And I was like, I need to see a measurable response here. Didn't get that at all. What I got from my eyes was, again, the sense of why people... It's not like necessarily... I'm going to go from the realistic fans here, not the ones that just pick up every single mistake, clip them up, and then put videos about with Lady Gaga songs, which I've seen this week. I've seen a lot of them. I'm just going to look at it from a perspective of like where he has gone wrong. And in that game, for the first 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, he was very timid in his box.
Mm-hmm.
His starting position was behind the penalty spot again, which is an ongoing problem. He wasn't giving it confidence, and he wasn't coming out to claim the ball. And we were severely under pressure. I know a lot of United fans are at that point, and to be fair, like I am on the ilk as well. I don't dislike De Gea. He is a great servant to the club, and he will always be acknowledged for that.
Mm-hmm.
Clean sheet record is his for a reason. Like he's well and truly earned that. I'm at that point now though where, as much as I want to see improvement from De Gea, I want to see his starting position be beyond the penalty spot, close to the edge of his box, where he is going, even if his distribution is absolutely shocking, which to be fair, I don't think it's ever going to improve. If his starting position is beyond the penalty spot, where it's close to the edge of the box, he's going to be in a position where he can actually come out and claim crosses, or he can at least sweep a bit more. That will give the confidence to Varane and Martinez, who are much better at distributing the ball forward. They can deal with distribution. At least he'll be in a position where he can cut off a striker. I don't think he's ever going to do it. And that really... And it pains me to say it as a United legend, it's time at that point where we have to move him on. Now, I tweeted out last night that, like, because there's general United fans just saying, like, who should we get? And I was like, there's only two goalkeepers that come to mind because one of them is impossible. We're never going to sign a Mike Maignan, for me, top goalkeeper in the world. We're not going to sign that. We should look at
Reece,
Mike Maignan, AC Milan goalkeeper. I think he's top 3 goalkeepers in football. We should look at realistic shouts, and for me, there's only 2. One of them is Costa, but that's a price tag on its own from Porto. The other is goalkeeper.
Reece, Costa had a howler in the World Cup.
Yeah,
like being a Man United goalkeeper is not an easy thing, you know. Like you know, like there's so many great goalkeepers that we've had that have had mental lapses. It's just one of those things where sometimes right? Who are the top 3? Like Peter Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and De Gea for me. Those ones are the there's a reason why he has say what?
Leaving out Barthez.
Oh, Barthez was great, but like Barthez was not like he had more mental lapses than good. You know what I mean? Like it's not you're allowed to have an off day. In my opinion, I don't know how everybody else feels, but like you're allowed to have an off day, and of course there were questionable like things in his distribution. Then that's an aspect that Ten Hag has even conceded in a way, that being like, all right, yeah, he still has time to improve. Go ahead, Mick. Go ahead.
I was skeptical by the way that Betis Neal scored in the help of the postal. I just want to say that last comment.
But you know what?
That was my fear.
Nobody is bulletproof. The goalie's job is to stop the ball to go in, and David De Gea is the best shot stopper in the world, according to my opinion. Right? The modern goalkeeping, the modern fans of today, they like the sweeper keeper, right? To have the extra kind of centre back that runs out, and his ball distribution has actually improved. But you got to look at the Liverpool game. He's not bulletproof. You're kind of dependent on your defense, but when your defense is crumbling, like a firewall system, the virus is going to attack. What are you going to do? You're not bulletproof, right? That's my humble opinion. So David De Gea, according to me, is the best goalkeeper we had since Schmeichel, right? If we're going to get a new goalkeeper, we might just go fizz out David De Gea, as we go. But goalkeepers, they go better with age. It's like a fine wine, according to my opinion as well.
Yeah.
So you might get a Costa, or you might get a up-and-coming number 2 to learn the traits and slowly take over De Gea, right? But according to me, De Gea is not going anywhere, right? But what we said yesterday in a post-match as well, he almost assisted in 2 goals, and this is where I was looking with my critical eyes. That was not good enough, right? He cost us almost We could
that straight pass to, was it? Who was it that he passed to?
That's raised my eyebrows, but I saw his face and he was red. He was a little bit fragile, like, you know, he was a little bit shaken up.
It's something about.
I've got to say, just quick, it's not just like the modern fan that's trying to have like the sweeper keeper. It's the modern manager that wants to play the high press system. They're looking for that goalkeeper that can actually have the feet of a footballer.
Yeah,
they're going that way. Obviously, as you guys are saying, this De Gea is a legend. It goes without saying. The clean sheet record. He's won the Premier League. You know what I mean? He's been player of the season. Was it at least two or three times? Is it?
Yeah.
Like the guy has been saving our bacon. But what's the trajectory? Where are we going, guys? We're going towards pressing guys into their trenches, and therefore our keeper needs to be able to play on the ball. I mean, against Betis, we're seeing the mistakes again. It's like, going forward, we have to see that eventual keeper come in that can play with his feet.
Bring back Eric Bailey and put him in goal.
Amazing. Where do you stand? Yeah, please.
I must be honest. So I've seen little like De Gea. I think he's fantastic. I've loved everything that he's done for Man United, getting that clean sheet record, and I just think, and that he's one of our only players now who's won the Premier League at Man United. But if you want me to be honest, I know this is going to be quite controversial, but he's really annoyed me since 2020. He really has annoyed me for that long, and it was the game where it was the 3-3 draw against Everton, and I think at the back of my mind, I was so annoyed, and I think I've still got one of them, like when I see them little ways of what we see of De Gea, like he gives the ball away so easily and the possession, and I just look at it and think we do need a goalkeeper who can do both. I agree with it completely. He is one of the best in the world for shot stopping, but and you look at a sweeper keeper, like you look at Nick Pope after that silly mistake what he done against Liverpool. Is a sweeper keeper necessarily the best way forward? And for me, I wouldn't get Costa. I think for me, when it comes to big games, Costa's not up for it. It's not just in the World Cup. I've seen it for Porto as well. He's got a very high penalty conversion rate. I agree. But penalties aren't everything for being a goalkeeper. And that's why I wouldn't take Costa anymore. I did, but I don't anymore now. I'm watching more of Porto this season because I watch a lot of the Portuguese league. And I would take the two goalkeepers I would take. David Raya from Brentford, just because I think he's great with possession and he's great from building in the back. So we've seen that David Raya, he's able to go with a back three in front of him, a back four in front of him. So he is able to adapt to how many centre backs and how many defenders are behind him. And another one that I would take would be Robert Sanchez from Brighton, because I think he is an outstanding goalkeeper as well. And knowing that the Premier League proven as well, that gives me a little bit more confidence. But the only bad thing is that they don't have any European experience, unlike Costa. And we know that David Raya, news have come out that he wants to play in Europe. Any top goalkeeper wants to play in Europe. So I would personally take Raya. I've liked Raya since Championship days, and I said this guy, he's going to get snatched up one day in the Premier League, like in a top Premier League club, and I think he's going to.
She said that to me long since I've known her, like that, so I can vouch on that. There's one other name actually. I just wanted to get your opinion on this because we don't know what. There's one other name, and this is not because
Donnarumma.
I like Donnarumma, but no. What I was actually going to say is, funnily enough, it's actually another goalkeeper of similar age to De Gea. But it's what Maisy was saying there about, does the sweeper keeper have to be really the answer? The other goalkeeper I was actually thinking of is direct. If we have to offer in a little bit of money but swap him, I'd swap De Gea for Jan Oblak.
No, just no.
I was waiting for that.
Please.
What's going to happen to Henderson then?
He could be shipped off. I don't give a crap about Henderson. That's the reason that interview. He's officially not a Man United player in my book.
Can we all laugh at Henderson for one thing? Can we laugh at Henderson for one thing? This guy left Man United to be a number one, and he's now a loanee's number two. Can we just laugh at him for that?
He's fucked up, man.
I do think as well, though, if he hadn't joined Inter Milan, if Ten Hag had been in the job quick enough, we might have signed Onana. Even though he had that questionable moment at Ajax when he took his sister's medication, they got banned for like nearly a year. I think if Ten Hag had been in the job, I think he might have tried to get Onana in as his number one.
Hang on, there's a couple of few ones in the Prem as well.
I do like Raya though. Like Maze is literally Maze did convince me on Raya, to be fair, like a while ago. But it was the City game against Brentford where I was like the guy just took the complete utter mick out of them, like just coming out like every time they were attacking. I was like, nah, this guy will do nicely. I really do like him. I really do like him. He's a good goalkeeper. But it's hard to choose because it's what you want.
So, no, to wrap up the goalkeeper convo, like let's see what Ruari said. David De Gea was bad yesterday. While he has credit in the bank, it's running out. And the other comment that was also, we don't have to move him on. We just need to bring on a good keeper that will give him strong competition and phase him out like we did McTominay.
That's what I said earlier too. True.
But the only problem is the wages for David De Gea. He's still on 375k a week, and if he's going to become a number 2 eventually, and he say, for example, we extended his contract and he kept the same wages, what would we want to have a number 2 goalkeeper on 375k a week?
No.
I mean, Maisy,
can I ask you a question, Maisy?
The keeper.
Do you think that in current situations, number 2, who is a number 2? Is it Heaton?
Yeah, Tom Heaton.
Is that a competition? I mean, if you're going to compete for places, is Heaton? There's a big drop off between Heaton and De Gea. So basically going back to this comment, we need to bring in a good number 2 that will challenge De Gea to become better, right? To bounce off each other. Right now, he doesn't have any competition.
It's a shame that we completely ridiculed Sergio Romero, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was excellent.
The problem is, though, was that we had Dean Henderson in the 2020 and David De Gea and Dean Henderson were swapping around quite a lot. And the problem is, I don't like swapping goalkeepers around too much when it comes to Premier League football because it just gives that bit of inconsistency in the defence.
Yeah.
By the way, Reese, Reese, what is Sergio Romero doing now? By the way,
last time I saw him playing, he was in Venezia, but I think he's went back to South America. I think he went to South America. Oh, 100%. He's the best.
Yeah, me too.
Like for me, Sergio Romero is the best number 2 goalkeeper I've ever seen. Like the guy.
Guys, I don't think we should be looking for a number 2, man. We shouldn't be challenging De Gea because the guy he's not good with playing out from the back. Yeah, we've seen if you make one mistake, you're more likely to let in a goal from just one mistake in terms of playing out from the back. Like De Gea was looking at last game against Betis where his mistake didn't lead to a goal. Yeah, but there's so many replays I've seen of different teams trying to play out from the back. One mistake leads to a goal. We need that keeper to come in. Yeah, first team. It could be I don't know. We're saying Costa or whoever. If the Qatari guys come in, we need to be trying to snatch one of these big time players. That's what at these other clubs that are like that are winning leagues.
I know he's been mentioned a lot.
Buy a proper first team keeper. And
I know he's been mentioned by pundits
for the rotation from second place.
Yeah, I know he's been mentioned a lot by pundits. Would any of you consider, and don't kill me for this comment, all right? Do not kill me. It's just a question. Would any of you consider Emi Martinez?
Yes, I thought about him actually. Ooh, yeah.
I think he's a proper shithouse. I mean, I know he done it against. I know he done it against us and twice. He done it from the halfway line when he was literally doing this, celebrating when we missed the penalty. We missed another opportunity. I think it was when they scored. He was standing like near the halfway line, celebrating his arse off, and then obviously he was shithousing when we missed the penalty. But this guy he went into the World Cup, was absolutely brilliant the whole way through. Bar maybe that Liverkovic, the Croatia goalkeeper, and Bruno, who I think is amazing. I think the Sevilla goalkeeper is another one I'd look at personally, even though he's 30. I think Emi Martinez is another one where Maisy eloquently put about Premier League proven. I know himself he's turning 30. I don't care if a goalkeeper's 30, but I think he's a World Cup winner, he's experienced in the Premier League. He already is well adept to playing it from the back. And he's already been in a team, funnily enough, who are under pressure. Like Aston Villa are under pressure a lot. So we actually do see this guy pretty much in every single game show why he is Argentina's World Cup winning number 1 for a reason. Like
he's Argentina. You see now Martinez is celebrating what a shit house he is. We need another shit house. Yeah, I love it. I love a little bit of attitude.
I think he's a great goalkeeper and he's ready made. Like I would have him. I don't know what you guys would, but I think like the fact that Arsenal got rid of him quickly, but I actually think he's suitable.
I like him. I like that kind of guy. If it's like what you're saying, where you can play it from the back, yeah. And
just coming back to you, Eddie, when you say play. Sorry, Eddie. Coming back to you when you said there's something playing from the back, right? Guys, raise your hand if you're like me, right? Whenever you see a backwards pass to De Gea, where does your pulse sit, right? I get shit nervous every time.
I don't want to know.
Man, I get nervous.
Not as nervous as when Maguire receives a pass, but like I do, like I feel a little my nerves, like I tense.
You're confident with Martinez to play, and Varane to play it out. Like you see how slick Martinez is to get away from the press.
I must be honest though, these days it's Dalot who frightens me more than De Gea. He's genuinely frightened me ever since he's come to United. He's frightened me. I just don't think he is at Manchester United's caliber. I've always said it that he is not good enough to be a Manchester United right back. He's not good enough as a number 2. And it just says a lot that Wan-Bissaka, he has literally played half the amount of games that Dalot has, and he's got literally one less assist than Dalot. And Dalot's supposed to be an attacking fullback. What's all this about? He literally goes too far forward, and then he gives the ball away, and then you've got fast wingers, fast strikers, whoever he give the ball away to, go and score. And that's the thing what frightens me. All the goals that's been conceded by us when he plays have come from the right-hand side because he's giving too much space at the back. And when I know a lot of people has criticised Maguire, but last season I felt sorry for Maguire and he was next to Dalot. I actually felt sorry for him because of how Dalot was playing.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not a fan of Maguire. He is not good enough. But I do also think that the Dalot made his kind of play a lot worse.
I would agree with the first one where you're saying Dalot's like average and going forward. Like
he's not even average.
I don't think he's that good enough. Because I've seen Dalot like go forward and like take shots from right wing where I'm like, why are you not crossing? Like his decision making is also up.
His crosses look like shots.
Yeah.
His crosses look like shots.
While we're wrapping up the goalkeeper conversation, Reese, I gotta interject with like Ravi's question, and you're gonna take this question. Do you know, Reese, what make of goalkeeper gloves are good?
I've always went with if I'm playing played in goal myself a few times, but I hate playing in goal. I prefer being a number 10 or a winger. I always go for New Balance. I think New Balance make good goalkeeper gloves, to be honest. Or gold old school, Adidas. As long as they're finger saves, that's all that matters. If they're not finger saves, don't buy them.
Okay, well. So now, guys, to like, because we're coming towards the end of our happy hour, but we're gonna end it with a little game. We're gonna have to pick one person from this list, and the rule of the game is you can't pick somebody that's already been picked. So you have to pick the person and then tell us a favorite moment that you have with that player. And then and then like that's the rule of the game, and this is gonna be random. I'm just gonna go ahead and just start with you, Mick. Like who are you picking? Yes. Who are you picking and why over
can I go like this? Like let me just imitate his hair. Wait a minute. A little bit curly, and I call it Diego Armando Maradona. The reason per se, the favorite moments, I can't remember which year, which World Cup. I think when we were playing England, when he, I think he took the ball all the way from his other half. He did that legendary goal, which Messi then 2-3 years later replicated. But the favorite moment is the hand of God. If you all remember, there was no VAR, but that was the score. I think it was against England as well. Like it was in a corner or something. He jumped up. And it was the hand of God. He pushed the ball in. Diego Maradona was an amazing player. Unfortunately, he surrounded himself with the wrong people. When he went to Italy, he was involved with the mafia owners, got into drugs, cocaine, and that totally ruined his career, ended his life, according to my opinion. So he was a legend of the game next to Pele. one of the big greats of the modern football history.
Okay. All right, let's go to you, Eddie. Who are you picking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was struggling to think of that because like there's so many legends on here. Yeah, and there's so many moments that because if you're trying to pick from legends, there's so many moments from these legends that you can pick from. I like Mick's choice there. That was a good one. I think I gotta go with Zidane. And obviously we know how good this guy is, man. Coming up with clutch goals. He scored when he scored that volley against Bayer Leverkusen. I forgot what year that was in the final.
2002 at Hampden Park. I was there.
2002. Oh, you were there. Wow. Oh man, you're lucky to see such greatness, man. I mean, for him to do that kind of volley, and what was Zidane, left-footed or right-footed, by the way?
Right-footed.
Right.
So he scored a volley on his weaker foot in the Champions League final, and it was perfect. Yeah, this guy is a proper legend to do that. Yeah. It's a clutch goal, and you when you need your leaders to come and represent, he did it. I remember people would say Zidane before a lot of big games, he'd actually throw up to get the nerves out. Yeah, so it shows that even legends are human. So this kind of guy to come up with that kind of volley, man. Yeah, Zidane against Bayer Leverkusen, man.
How about Materazzi? He said, "I'm gonna shave your sister's mustache," and he headbutted him. Hey, I'm gonna shave your sister's mustache, and you're going boom.
Never forget that moment. That's one of the last actions he did, wasn't it?
Yeah. Shout out to you, Niall. Put your right hand in the left hand, in and out, and shake it all about. You do the Maradona, and you turn on. Oh, Diego Maradona, he knocked England out. Legend, a big legend. What about you, Maisy? Who are you going with, and why?
Eddie pick's my favourite player. I must be honest, I do love Zidane. Like he is the best midfielder I've ever witnessed, but I'm gonna go with the best striker I've ever witnessed, Ronaldo 9. Not Cristiano Ronaldo 9. I just think for me with Ronaldo, a lot of people don't think he's so good because he's not won the Champions League, but for me, he was one of the type of players where if he had a stiffer goal, he would literally take that shot. The connection that he's had with the Brazil team, with Ronaldinho in that side, that Brazil side was an absolute beast of a side. And one of my favourite moments from it would be from Ronaldo was when the World Cup was in 2002, and I think for me is that a lot of people lost a lot of faith in Ronaldo just because he hasn't been in the Brazil squad, and he hasn't shown that he was the player that we've seen in the past. But it was that game in particular which he played against Japan, and he managed to get 2 goals. I think he's absolutely incredible, and he's so hungry. He's got such a great winning mentality, and I just think that for that, a player like Ronaldo 9, you're not going to see that kind of striker anymore, because you just see players these days who plays in the false 9. They can play in all different types of positions, but I just think in that particular role, Ronaldo was very special in it.
Yeah, Maisy, by the way, when Brazil won in that 2002, I got that Ronaldo haircut. You know when you just had the little bit of the
triangle. Oh no, you had the triangle.
Yeah, I got that trim. I went into school. I think I was in like year 8, and people were laughing at me, but I was like, I'm representing Ronaldo.
I like the way he done it as well. I like the way he done it. He was actually wearing a hat as well, and he just took off and he's like, "Here's my power cut."
Oh, did you see this on social media? Like, this kid said to his dad, "I want a Ronaldo haircut," meaning Cristiano Ronaldo, and his dad cut his hair to make it like Ronaldo nice.
No.
I also want to say this as well. I don't know what you guys think of this, but I'm going to say this. Man United have played against every single one of these players. I think Pele.
Oh,
I think Pele's the only player that never played against us. Ronaldo's the best player to actually come to Old Trafford. I think Brazilian Ronaldo's the best player to come to Old Trafford. He's the best performance as well. Like that hat trick.
He's the only Ronaldo.
Yeah. But
when did we play Maradona?
I mean,
1984, we played them in the European Cup Winners' Cup and beat them. Brian Robson became Captain Marvel that night.
Reese, but I'm sorry, you gotta pick somebody else now because Ronaldo's already taken.
My pick was already saved for me. Nobody stole my pick, so I'm safe.
Amazing. Go ahead. Who are we going with?
It's right there.
Oh no! That's amazing.
Sentimental, and it's not just that.
Oh wow!
He's also a mummer.
No way! Incredible! Wow!
I love that kit as well, that old shark kit. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Honestly, growing up and still to this day, I've been a football fan for well over 20 years. David Beckham is still to this day my all-time favorite football player. He's a reason, like apart from many things, he's the reason I'm a Man United fan. He's the reason I followed him everywhere else apart from England. So I did follow his career at like PSG, like LA Galaxy, AC Milan, but I always still supported Man United even after David Beckham left. But he's the reason I got into football in that way, and I pretty much molded myself to football the same way he did. But another thing I've always appreciate this guy is I started first United game I ever watched, funnily enough, was after the treble season, so I was only 2.5 years old. We played Arsenal, we won 2-1. Who got both assists that day? Highbury. Oh wait, it was David Beckham that got 2 assists for Roy Keane and all that. So Roy Keane and Dwight York. So literally my all-time favorite football player. All these players on this thing are legends. The only ones I never got to see was Maradona and Pele, but I still recognize their greatness. But you put a gun to my head and you say, who's your favorite football player of all time? You got 2 seconds. It'll always be David Beckham in a split second. Always.
Ooh. Incredible answer though. Also, Ravi says just get a can of 7-Up instead of holding up that mug. By the way,
why would you highlight that? Why would you highlight that one?
I don't know. Ravi just gotta rub it in. It's the happy hour for everybody. So,
but did you guys notice that nobody picked the real number 7 here? For some reason,
nobody picked the real number 7. I was gonna go pick somebody, but it wasn't even the real number 7. I think I'm gonna go with Ronaldinho because he's somebody that I believe he brought a certain artistry to the game that you don't see anymore. And his locker room, his not locker room, his skill set was just incredible. You could never predict what Ronaldinho was going to do. And we just don't see a lot of players like that. We see brilliant players, but we see a lot of more system players than actual, take on, do what you want, get us into a winning position, solve the problem and give an assist or get a goal. And Ronaldinho, they don't make him like him anymore, and in inform Ronaldinho. It's a pity that his career didn't last that long and he didn't take care of himself like the likes of CR7 would, So
he allowed to party a bit too much, didn't he? That's his problem, man.
He was
inconsistent. It's a shame as well. He was inconsistent as well. He's an amazing football player, and this comes back from his time when he was at PSG. There was always actually Sabre, and this came out from his manager, Fernandez, who was a European winner with France in '84. He always said when it was big games against the likes of Lyon or Marseille or Monaco, he would be 10 out of 10. He would always stand out. But when it was against other teams like Saint Etienne or something like that, he couldn't be bothered. And that was everywhere he went. AC Milan, if it wasn't Juventus or Inter or Napoli, he didn't care. Barcelona, if it wasn't Real Madrid or Atletico or Valencia, he wasn't bothered. But then again, though, who cares? Because if he's turning up in the big games and your team's still contributing in the games where they need to do better, at least he's actually stepping up for you, being that killer player in the big games. I've always loved Ronaldinho for that sense. I think the one thing that Ronaldinho should be credited for is there was a lot of football fans at that time that were actually starting to lose interest in the game. He brought a lot of football fans back into it. And I've always loved that about him, in terms of his approach to football, artistry, maybe became too much of an entertainer. And maybe that in a partier, and obviously that affected him. But when you look at top performances, Maisy mentioned the 2002 World Cup. Phenomenal tournament. It was the first World Cup I ever watched. He was
Yeah,
fantastic.
when he beat Steeman with that free kick, man, that's like one
Yeah,
of the
like
goals I saw from Brazil, man. That was amazing.
And he didn't score in the Champions League final either when they beat Arsenal. But he was very important in terms of getting them there. Mugged off AC Milan, done all that. But there's one Ronaldinho performance that will always stand testament at the time for me, and that's when he mugged off Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, and he's the second.
Yeah. They even gave him a standing ovation.
Yeah, that was weird when I saw that because we know these Real Madrid fans. You know what I mean? They're strict on their team, and for them to give him a standing ovation for you know what I mean, the opposition player. That's a big thing.
And I believe it's only in terms of the Bernabeu or even Madrid fan base, only Ronaldinho and Maradona have ever had a standing ovation at the Santiago Bernabeu from Barcelona players. That says it all for me, like how much of a polarizing guy this is. But all the players there are absolutely phenomenal. I think the one thing we all share as football fans is a sense of connection with a player in one way, whether it be a moment of football or just a testament. Like, so for example, I will always associate with David Beckham because that was the first football I ever watched. But another player on this list that I actually associate with in a way because it's great to see realism about what you watch in football. I love Xavi. I love Xavi on this list because it's simplistic.
Nobody else shouted Xavi or no Iniesta, no
I
Messi.
love Iniesta. I just think for me, he made that Barcelona midfield tick. Like everyone always talks about Xavi, how great he was, but you don't hear the Iniesta shouts that you hear of the Xavi shouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just think Iniesta was the workhorse in that midfield.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he
scored
a goal against us that broke my heart. But like
I guess my choice was I'm looking at the legendary starters and the game changers, like people that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck and change it. We don't see that often. Yeah, we saw them in the World Cup with the likes of Mbappe. Like he's got potentials to do that, right? But I'm talking about how many times did actually Maradona FC, like when he played for Argentina. And how much did he get kicked down, from the opposition? I'm surprised he wouldn't get that, as much as injuries as got in his career. But that guy was just a magician with the ball, right? So for me, he's one of the greatest players ever played the game. And that's why I didn't pick Messi, or because kudos to Messi, kudos to Ronaldo, they're modern days players. But just going back in the history where I grew up as well, watching, right? So my fond memories was watching World Cups with Maradona. And that's why I wanted to become a footballer, and I had curly hair too, so they call me Little Maradona. I look like
Mick, can I ask you a controversial question? Who's better out of Maradona and Messi in your opinion?
Maradona
100%.
Sorry, Maradona. Let's be honest though.
Can I put my kids for Messi real quick? Yeah, because you got to look. Come on, come on, man, come on.
Eddie.
Just real quickly. Yeah.
Ask your question to this our guest right here who's just joining us right now, Mr. Reactionary FC. Go ahead, Eddie, and ask your question to him.
Wait, what question? I didn't do nothing.
Is who's better out of Messi and Maradona?
Man is like, I really want to leave right now.
It's an uncomfortable one, yeah.
Go ahead.
Maradona's better than Messi.
Oh, okay. Let me put my case for Messi then, yeah, because we're not looking at the fact that he's won so many competitions on international level. That Copa America, yeah, the Olympics and the World Cup, yeah. I remember Messi. Was it Maradona's just won the World Cup, isn't it? Yeah. How many Champions Leagues has Messi won? Yeah.
Can we also say this as well, though? When you look
how many leagues has he played in?
It's two different era.
When Maradona was at his best at Barcelona, I believe he got. I think Mick, you'll be able to confirm this for me. He got a staph infection. He had I think he got a severe knee injury. The folk that had him ruled him out. And every time that Barcelona were actually on a title challenge at his period, he actually got severely injured. Messi has been fortunate that when he has been slightly injured or has been injured, he's had phenomenal talent around him. I'm not knocking Messi in that way. I am not doing that. I think what Maradona had though is a period where it was so much more brutal that the fact that he actually was able to still win a UEFA Cup with Napoli, which they've only won once because of him, 2 league titles because of Maradona. I think you've got to look at it and obviously as well, that Argentina team 1986 as well, from a lot of fans from that period of time, I said that team was bang average with one world-class player. And the fact that they had many considered to be the greatest player of all time, who, by the way, as well, was voted, FIFA are very stupid as well, but he was voted, not Pele, Maradona was voted the greatest player of the 20th century as well in a FIFA poll.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the
teams, you're true. He played with bang average players, and he carried that players to be a winning
Messi
team.
played with some average players.
He was a game changer.
In the Argentina side, Messi's played with average players. Like that team is just won with now. Come on, man. You have McAllister from Brighton in there. Come on. Yeah,
this last World Cup is why I say Maradona over Messi, because this last World Cup people carried them. Qatar carried them. Like, you can't just get a penalty every game. Like, it made no, like it was bribery. Like it's in front of everybody's face. Penalty every game from game 1 to the end of the game to finals. Come on.
I think this is more painful as well.
Besides that, Messi was putting up assists and goals. He was pretty much he was the best player of the tournament, I would say. I think he was rated in terms of looking at all his statistics. He was formerly the best player in the tournament. So
I always criticize. Excuse me. I always criticize Messi, and I always said he never performs in the Argentina team. Messi's always been good at Barcelona system, so therefore I was so intrigued to see what he will do at French league, which is one league below, and he hasn't really shook up any trees over there, has he?
But he's getting older and he's burning out a bit more. So
guys, there's two different eras. There's two different eras,
I think we can all say as football fans though that for the likes of Mick, etc., blessed to have, like, in the reaction is, I don't know your age, so I'm not going to do that in any circumstance. You guys have been blessed to have Maradona in your era. You were blessed to have greats as well from that era. And Ronaldo, obviously Ronaldo, Zidane, when they were actually at their best. I was blessed to see Zidane and Ronaldo retire. I was blessed to see Ronaldinho retire. We were blessed to see Maradona and Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo in our period of time. I think one thing we're lucky as football fans is we've had those great players of those generations. Preference is always going to be the choice.
Reece, I'll be honest.
Neymar's not on that list.
I've not seen enough of Maradona, but then when you look at the stats, though, the amount of goals and assists that Messi's putting up, man,
they are up there for a reason, though, truly.
Like, you could say, okay, he's at Barcelona in the system, a bit more of that an advantage.
You have to turn up, though. That's the only difference.
So Reece and Eddie, it's precisely why I brought up this little set of pictures, because I was hoping to kind of like conclude our conversation with which player actually made you guys fall in love or get you guys hooked onto football. And Ravi pretty much just had the same question. So the way I gave context to this, I was just like, which one would you choose and why? So big shout out to you, Amiral, for joining in, and Super Nick for joining in. So we're just gonna pretty much like conclude the conversation with that question in mind. I know we've talked about Pele, we've talked about Zidane, we've talked about Maradona, Ronaldinho, Beckham, and Messi a little bit. No, actually, nobody picked Messi per se. We picked Ronaldo and left Messi and the Portuguese Ronaldo and Xavi and Iniesta. We didn't pick any of those,
So based on my last argument, I maybe should have picked Messi.
Who made you? Let's go one more time for the panel. Who made you fall in love with football, and then why? It may not be somebody that's not even in this picture. So go ahead and let's wrap up the conversation, because this is a Friday happy hour, not happy 2 hours. So let's wrap it up right now, guys. One more. I'm just gonna start with you, Reece. Let's go with you first. And then,
so for me, 100%, as I've said before, it is David Beckham. Literally, the man was my childhood, and he was where I became a Man United fan. But I'm also going to say this as well, as an appreciative, as a rival. I'm very surprised that Gianfranco Zola's not on that list. I'm surprised that Thierry Henry isn't on that list. And as well, another one, because I love defending in that sense, actually, and attacking. I'm surprised Kaká's not there. And I'm surprised that Paolo Maldini's not on that list. But yeah, it's 100% David Beckham for me. And also, I want to say thanks for having me on tonight as well. I really do appreciate it.
Of course, Reese. A pleasure. Let's go to you, Mick. No, Mick, you answered first on the last question. We're gonna finish
that was
with
the
you.
person that made me play football. I was playing as number 11 throughout my career. But he was the one that I was, whenever I took the ball out and whenever we sort of picked the player, I was always, I got fond memories. Maradona, yeah. Always when we played on the street, I was always Maradona. I was short like him. I had curly hair like him, and they called me Little Maradona. I was very technical as well. So yeah, yeah. So big up. So I grew up with Maradona, obviously, and I grew up with Messi and likes. So what I wanted to say, there's two different players and two different eras and two different greatness. They both come from Argentina. They both have great feet, great vision of the game, and God, we have so many memories with these players. What you just had, if I had the choice, I'll pick all of them, but you can only pick one. And
shame Romario wasn't there either.
Beckham for Reese, Maradona for Mick. What about you, Maisy?
The thing is, everyone's gonna pick everyone from the 90s, from the 80s, but obviously I started watching football a lot later on. So the one who made me fall in love with football was Ruud van Nistelrooy. I was only 6 years old when I started watching football in 2006, last season of Ruud van Nistelrooy. I absolutely loved him. I remember the football used to be on the TV all the time, just didn't pay no attention. But then I think one time I just seen Ruud score, I was like, what's going on? So I just watched a little bit, and then I watched a bit more, and he was just like an absolute beast. He was a fox in the box. He would just score out of nowhere. And the thing is, in my opinion, it's just unfortunate that he was in the Manchester United side, where not that we was a bad team or an underachieving team. It's the fact that there was the greats of Arsenal, there was the greats of Chelsea, because otherwise he would have a lot more trophies than what he would have done.
Preach that louder.
And if he would have got on with Ronaldo, he would have stayed there a few more seasons,
I think he probably would have. And Team Rude.
I think it's quite polarizing as well. When you look at United's great strikers, my favourite player is linked to in a great way to two of United's best strikers from that period, Dwight York. Well, actually three: Dwight York, Cole, and obviously my man Ruud. He's still the best striker to play for Man United in its entire history, in my opinion, Van Nistelrooy.
We haven't had anyone else since Ruud van Nistelrooy. I know we've had Van Persie, we've had Zlatan, we've got Martial, we've had Cavani, but I just think
don't forget Berbatov, he was good.
I love Berbatov. He had the most silkiest first touch ever. Like, I just look at it go.
And the beautiful hat-trick against Liverpool.
Yeah. But the problem is that we just haven't had that kind of caliber of striker who would just look at who had the ball and it go in the back of the net. We just don't have that kind of player anymore. I don't think there's not many strikers anymore in this football era where they're on the same level as Ruud van Nistelrooy. Maybe Haaland's the closest in terms of the amount of goals. But I just think if you're looking into the next 10 years, I think the modern day football is going to change to more false nine approaches because it's running out of strikers.
Imagine, Maisy, if Bruno Fernandes got to play with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Do you see how many chances that Bruno produces? And you know what I mean?
I'll tell you something. Bruno would have a lot more assists if Ruud van Nistelrooy is in that team.
Mr. Reactionary FC, Omo, you joined us late, but here is the list that we're bouncing off of. Everybody else.
I'm not going off that list.
Go ahead and tell us.
You said the player that made me fall in love with football. Then on that
there we
list.
go. Exactly.
My answers is Brian Laudrup and Michael Laudrup. I started watching football for France '98. I think I was 11 or 12. That's when I started watching football, and those two. As soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite player. Then I started getting more and more into football. And my family made me watch, what's that match called? It was the finals. Then we went into trouble. Well, Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Dwight York and Andy Cole, it was from there. I'm like, oh, I'm Manchester United fan pretty much all the way.
Wow. Wow.
Can I just pay respect? Can I just quickly pay respect to Reaction FC in this way? Because obviously, the only Scottish one on the panel here. My family, in that sense, are all Rangers fans, and I'm saying this to you. My mum's all-time favorite Rangers player, by the way, is Brian Laudrup.
Well, I love the brothers.
He is a king up in Ibrox. Quality man. So I am going to do this to you, sir.
Danish.
Yeah.
Danish
No, amazing choices, bro. Eddie, take us home, bro.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we're talking about player moments, and I said Zidane, it's obviously for me because I started watching football at around maybe 2002, and it was Barcelona. I was watching. Obviously, it was Man United I was watching first, but Barcelona, I was watching them as well. And when I was seeing when Ronaldinho came to that team, and I was seeing them cook, man, with the samba skills, like the way he would dribble. I mean, I know we paid tribute to Ronaldinho already, but the way he would dribble, it looked like he was dancing on the ball. He made me buy a Barcelona shirt. Yeah, even though I was a Man United fan, I gotta say it. I'll be honest. He made me buy a Barcelona shirt because of the skills he was doing. Every time I tried to play football, amateur level, I tried to be doing step overs, all the stuff. Obviously, I couldn't do it.
Eddie, anytime before I go play, I'm like, let me see some Ronaldinho compilation real quick. You know, he just gets charged up. You know,
when you get the inspiration, get charged up, man. You watch Ronaldinho, man. You see the passion. I would always wait for a Ronaldinho celebration as well. That would be one of the favorite parts of his game. Just you know what I mean? I mean, you see him, man. You see that he lives football. It's just a pity about his discipline. But for 3 big seasons where he was putting up numbers, and he won the Ballon d'Or. I don't know if it was at Barcelona, but it was 3 peak seasons. 2005. Yeah, he was putting up numbers of legendary status, and it's just a pity he couldn't do like the longevity of like a Messi or Ronaldo. But just to finish off, Ronaldo's pure expression of playing like he was in the street, but playing the professional game like that. So inspirational, man. So Ronaldinho.
Oh, guys, wow.
Can I have a final request?
Go ahead,
you, sir?
Go ahead.
This is just for, in my opinion, can I share my screen just one time only? I think this for me is why I love. Like, I can just present it from my side, but I'm just asking you first. There's one.
Yeah, of course.
There's one Ronaldinho moment, right? That will always stand out for me. And if you're a fan of a particular English club, I do think you should look away. But this is for me my favorite Ronaldinho goal of all time.
All right. Let's see. Hold on.
You should be able to add in now because it's there.
Yeah. So hold on.
Wait for it. There you go.
Is that it?
The edge of the box where he does that, like when he just stands still and he flicks his feet and then he just hits it right in, like toe pokes it past Petr Cech. 3 players on him. 3 players on him. 2004 Champions League, and he's like, "To hell with you." There you go. They still got knocked out by Chelsea. Chelsea went through, but just that beautiful goal by Barcelona, like by Ronaldinho that night, was absolutely brilliant. Like,
amazing. Thank you for sharing.
That goal, I remember just watching it so many times. It was like he was dancing, like the way he was doing his dummies on the ball.
I was 7 years old. I was 7.
I have another favorite player, Reese. You mentioned Rangers, right?
Yeah.
But the rivalry of Rangers is what? Celtics, right?
Henrik Larsson.
Henrik Larsson, how did you know?
Because you said, the minute you said rivalry of Rangers, and I was like, there's only one Celtic player I've ever truly
There's only one Henrik Larsson. There's only one Henrik Larsson. No, because I grew up in Sweden, obviously. I grew up in the land of the Vikings, Sweden, and Henrik Larsson. Yeah, and he was even in a loan spell to United as well under Sir Alex. He did one season was fantastic. But I remember 1992 when there was World Cup in US as well, right? And Sweden came third, and the bronze final. Henrik Larsson was a pivotal player in that World Cup, but also Ravelli, the goalkeeper. He was mad, right? So I wasn't that old or young, but I remember that was kind of the pivotal moment of me falling in love with Henrik Larsson as well.
I have to appreciate the man for what he was. He's still, even though he played for Celtic, and I hate the trauma of watching an Old Firm when he scored, but he was class.
Yeah,
I think he could have won. He could have won a trophy with us at United, but he left 2 days earlier.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like one of those things where like for us, we'll celebrate the heroes that came to Man United and fought for Man United, So yeah, guys, I just want to also just like say thank you. It's been a real pleasure having all of you guys here, and this is supposed to be a 1-hour show, but we went 30 minutes over, but because it was so good, and also almost showed up so late, but also Brush was in the backstage and then like disappeared real quick, but next time we can do it again, all of us again, and special thank you to you, Eddie, and Maisy also. I know you had a very long day, and Reese, and it's just been so freaking amazing. Mick, it's 6:30 in the morning, and Mick is here with us. Like, guys, like
I'm falling asleep already.
Yeah, Mick is a champ for being here with us. So I would just want to just say thank you so much. Special. I'm so grateful. So we'll do this again. It's the first time we're having the happy hour, and we'll bring more drinks next time.
Hey, Power Hour, your future, because before this, I was up doing another happy hour Manchester United, and you featured in it as well. So
amazing! Plug the channel, Mick, so that people know where to find you.
It's on MUFC Realist TV on YouTube, and you will find Power Hour in it as well. Amazing! It's not a bad day at the office. To have a bad day at the office, you got to turn up to the office, and none of them turn up to the office.
Yes. amazing. And then for sure, Maisy, do you want to also just please plug the channel and let people know where they can find you?
Thank you for so much having me on. It's been a while, but my YouTube channel is Devils United, and Manchester United content on there, men and women's football. My Twitter's at 2_Mays1012. I keep having to think of it because it's changed, but I really appreciate it. Get Football Power Hour to 500 subscribers. Thanks for having me on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Oh, mate, it's been a real pleasure. And also Maisy also has that amazing content also covering Man United women's football and also sporting as well in the Portuguese league. So make sure you check out Maisy. And also I just want to just say big shout out to my friend Reese. Let me get Reese in here. How do I? Of course, it's happy hour and the alcohol has kicked in. So hold on. There we go. Let's get Reese in here. Reese, where can people find you, my friend?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Football Power Hour. It's been an absolute pleasure being amongst yourself and everyone on the channel. It's good to see Maisy. Mick, first time I've encountered Mick, he was a good laugh. Eddie as well. I've seen him on a few channels sometimes, so always watch, and he's a good laugh. Just overall good conversation. I really enjoyed it. As the name goes, Devils Rising on YouTube and Twitter. I'm also the same. I've rebranded my Twitch as well. It's now Devils Rising everywhere. The reason there's a one, because I'm the only one, and you'll never find another one like me. So I appreciate that. I've just passed.
And you tall too. How tall are you? You said
6'3".
Oh my goodness.
I'm just a man with a wild attitude, but I love to have fun and just talk about football and just enjoy overall conversation. But yeah, that's what you can find me. You can also find me as well every Saturday. I do wrestling podcasts on a different channel, which is the Weekly Armchair Sports Talk. But on my channel, particularly, I do football like gaming content, and I do like watch-alongs and quiz shows. So you can find me there, Devils Rising, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Thank you so much.
Amazing. And then let's go to my homie Eddie. Hey,
yeah, man. I just gotta say thank you again for having me on. It was obviously, like Reese was saying, man, it's good to speak to everyone. He's very, clued up on his IQ in terms of ball knowledge. Mick, I've been on his channel before. He's good. Maisy knows football as well. Big up to the other brother that was on here. But yeah, you can find me at Eddie's Football Waffle on YouTube. I do reactions to Man United content. And as well as doing live action stuff, I did a bit of animation. So I got a bit of humor in there as well. So check it out. And yeah, man, I wish this could have gone on a bit longer because it's a happy hour. You know what I mean? I was just getting warmed up, bro. Might have to make it like a 2-hour show.
It's a happy hour, not happy hours. You know, like
happy hours, bro.
Of course, and my man Omo. Like people can always find you here, and also at Planet Fast.
I try to do videos, but I'm like, nah, I'm too lazy. Like I'm too lazy. Like I make the video, I'm like, I gotta post it. Nah, I don't wanna.
We have to get the YouTube channel up over one time. Come on, man. Like, I always see you on the Twitter Spaces. I always see you out there. Like, you're always, bro. You're always.
All I wanted to do is challenge Manchester United fans because they think like the type of team they want is a football ultimate team from FIFA. So I'm trying to challenge them. Like, you can never get that. Like, have what you have right now. Be grateful for what you have because it could have been worse.
True that.
Let's work with what we have.
So, for real.
Because I was busy fighting people in spaces that want David De Gea gone. I'm like, so if you terminate his contract, you're gonna put a goal. He in, Butland. Now you just got listen. You have to work with what you have to work. Like you don't want him. He's here until the summer.
Yeah. I just gotta like ask you one question, Eddie and Reese. Listen to this. Omo, are we winning the league or not?
Mathematic from math, yes. Quadruple is still on the line.
I don't even understand how you're asking that.
Listen. Me, I believe in my manager 100% because he's a magician. He's done a miracle. He's a surgeon. He's just like everything he's done has been working so far.
The reactionary FC.
And this man learned from his mistake.
Bro, I've got to call you on your
he hasn't lost back to the same manager.
Bro, I've got to call you on your philosophy because you're saying this is not FIFA, right? So how are you in 6
I'm just going to lock that in.
We're the quadruple when we were suffering last season and we just held 7 as Liverpool. Come on,
that's where the reaction comes from. People think about 7 Liverpool. That's one game.
Yeah, but
that's 3 points. Listen, that's 3 points. We're still ahead. We're still ahead of Liverpool, and Liverpool's still celebrating the 7-0. Like they don't have to play Real Madrid away.
We'll give 2. I'm going to give 2 last tributes to Liverpool tonight. And I think they kind of deserve this. One, I'm lifting up the Premier League trophies that Carragher has in his career. None. And the second one is, you want a real 7-up. Just look at the league table points difference. That's the real 7-up.
I like that one. We are 7-up on Liverpool.
They have 7 losses. If you look on the table, they got 7 losses.
They lost to Real Madrid 5-2 in their own home. Like in your house, you lose 5-2, you score 2, and they gave you 5. And now you're about to go
what's
Real
5
Madrid.
plus 2? Reactionary. What's 5 plus 2?
7.
Yeah.
Hey.
Listen, you know what? I also blame our team for wearing white. They thought they were playing against Real Madrid. We should never wear white that day. And Liverpool's annoying. They don't have no tactics or passing the ball possession. All they do is kick and run.
They're supposed to be what's funnier as well. What's even funnier is they're supposed to be apparently the greatest football team ever. Didn't they not lose 7-2 to Aston Villa?
So can I just address what's his name? What's his name again? The guy.
Ruari.
How am I suspect, man? I mean, I'm saying facts.
Now he won the best for us.
Even though there's negative facts, we have to deal with the facts, guys. Okay. So,
if we ended up winning,
so what are the facts for you, Eddie? Okay, let's just finish this conversation and end the show. What are the facts for you?
I mean, like I was calling out reactionary FC just then, saying quadruple. I mean, come on. You were saying, okay, we've got to be in a place where we've got to respect where we are at. Yeah, it's not FIFA where you can just sign this guy, sign that guy, change the tactics real quick, and then we're just doing possession football. It's been a big transition. We're still doing counter-attack, by the way. It's been a bit of possession, still counter-attack. So it's kind of a patchwork team. So where I'm at is that, I'm not on quadruple level. I'm not on that. One Carabao Cup. I'm on the top 4. maybe we can get an extra one. Yeah, but guys, remember where we're coming from. Okay, Reactionary FC was saying we've got to be grateful that we're actually, we won a cup. We've come from 6th place, top 3. Yeah?
Very true.
Nobody predicted this.
I just to finish off, I am in an optimistic mode of when we get the new owners. Yeah, we're going to be. It's got to be Qatari because we've got to go on a spending spree. We're the best Premier League legacy team. 13 Premier Leagues. We've got to go and buy all these players up, all the strikers, all the midfielders, everything. Next season, and maybe maybe the season after that, we're taking a quadruple. Third season. Yeah. To the guy that was trying to call me out. What's his name again? Ruari. On it.
I think we could still quadruple. Everything depends on what happened on April 8th. I forgot what match that is, but there's a bunch of matches going on, and that will decide the table.
We play Newcastle on the 2nd. We play Forest on the 15th.
Okay. So, Reese, you think we're gonna beat the next game is Southampton, right? We have to beat Southampton, right? What's your score prediction?
We've got no excuses. We have to win, but it's not going to be easy. Southampton, obviously, I said it to Eddie off camera before we started. It's like we generally have that situation where they are in an absolute dogfight. They are trying to survive the Premier League. They've been in the Premier League for 10 years. They want to stay in it. I think we'll win, but it's going to be very close. I'm going to go 2-1 to us.
Okay.
2-0. But I think one thing I hope doesn't happen, I hope Ward-Prowse doesn't score a bloody free kick because then he will tie Beckham's record, and I do not want to see that happen.
So Reese, I was gonna, before you pick David Beckham, I was gonna pick Beckham because nobody delivers the ball like Beckham ever in the Premier League, ever. Like De Bruyne is close. De Bruyne can pick a position, pick a point, and get the ball there. But Beckham, you were always sure that ball was going to be dangerous. If it's a free kick or if it's a cross, he's finding the person at the near post. No, that's so underrated nowadays. Nobody does it like Beckham. Ever. So and also so I'm glad that you got Beckham and you've got the regalia and everything, so salute to you for that. And word process right there with the Premier League record. He's about to catch up to Beckham, so hopefully that doesn't happen against us, right?
I hope I never see it happen. I hope I don't, but I probably will because he is really good at them, to be fair. Like, you gotta give him a little bit of prop on them, but nobody.
That technique that he has where he hits it and the ball's got like a top spin, and he just wraps it into the corner. It's like keeper has no chance when
he's annoying.
Too nice. Yo, guys, like, no, we gotta find a way to end it. So Reese, thank you so much for swinging by, and my bro Eddie, thank you one more time. One love, thank you. Thank you, Omo. I appreciate you, Mr. Reactionary FC, and everybody that tuned in. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Ruari says Southampton, we will beat them 6-0. I love it. I'm with the confidence because we have to go there with confidence. Otherwise, why go there? So shout out to you, everybody that tuned in. I really appreciate this. Was meant to be a 1 hour show, but it's somehow, because it's the first time we're doing the happy hour, we spilled over to 1 hour 42 minutes. So that's because the guests were excellent and everything. So, and you were excellent too. Everybody that tuned in, Ruari, Nile, Ravi, Brush, it's a couple thing, Box, Jordan, everybody that tuned in, I really, really appreciate you. This channel is nothing without you guys. So one more time, let me give you the flowers. There we go. You deserve them. Peace.